So thank you all for having me here, and special thank you to Senator Allen's office for inviting me. Really excited to share about our work. SelfHelp Graphics and Art has been in the heart of the east side of Los Angeles for the last 44 years. Founded by a chain-smoking nun. It's my favorite thing about us. Our mission is really in the name. It's self-help. It's about nurturing artists and providing a space for the creativity of the wider community beyond just self-identified artists. Sister Karen Bocalero saw a need to provide a space, the tools and equipment for Chicano and Latino artists to create. To this day, there is no other space on the east side that provides the combination of accessible printmaking equipment, studio space, and exhibition space, artist professional development opportunities, and free and low-cost art workshops for adults, free arts education programs, and cultural events. There really isn't another organization like us in the community. We have a legacy of 4 decades worth of printmaking that speaks to the values and the lived experiences and concerns of our community, but I'll focus on the economic impact of self-help and the crucial revenue streams that we provide to help artists build sustainable careers. Very early on, Sister Karen created the Barrio Mobile Art Studio. So beyond the walls of SelfHelp Graphics, this printmaking nun and her motley crew of young Chicano artists were taking art making to the streets, to schools, really any public space where they could create a pop-up workshop. The program was brought back in 2014 and since then has employed 25 artists year-round in activations all over the city and the county of LA. One of these artists is Marta Carrillo. She was raised in Boyle Heights, became a mom at quite a young age as a teenager, and now has 4 children ranging from late high school to preschool. She's a visual artist, performance artist, installation artist, and as you can imagine, it's difficult to engage and grow her artistic practice as a single mom. Through the training she's received at SelfHelp, Martha is now not only one of our go-to workshop artists, she's been able to leverage the space to grow her teaching curriculum, take on large-scale commissions that she couldn't possibly do without our space, or to house in her home, and even t-shirt printing. Her 2 older daughters are program participants of our youth programs, and Marta's playing a mentor role to our young emerging artists. This is actually Marta here in this photo, leading a collage workshop during one of our holiday marketplaces. The holiday marketplace at SelfHelp Graphics has been running for over 3 decades. So she doesn't have the luxury of studio space and counts on SelfHelp Graphics and Art for the tools and resources that allow her to continue to live from her practice and maintain her family. One of the large-scale installations that she did recently was she piñata-fied a party bus. And again, that's not the kind of thing that she could have done in her house or even her yard. It had to be in a space like SelfHelp. Another artist is a young woman who's actually pictured here on the top right with the glasses, who has come into adulthood at SelfHelp. She's gone from being a volunteer and participant of our workshops to now being a teaching artist in our summer youth program and the founder of an all-women of color artist collective headquartered in our building. One day, not too long ago, this young woman came into our office in tears because she had lost $300 in cash for her rent. And I want to emphasize here that $300 will make or break a housing situation for some of the artists that we work with, and in some cases actually less. So we were actually able to hire her for an activation that covered that amount. So as an organization, we don't provide living space, but we provide the means towards one. A third, through paid work. A third artist that I want to mention, her name is Brenzi, and she's not pictured here, but she came into our building last December 2016. Actually, I'm sorry, December 2015. She was 19 years old, and she said, I have a show that I want to put together about basically gentrification in my neighborhood. and I want to showcase the work of my peers, we don't have any other space to do that. So I'm either going to do it here at SelfHelp Graphics, or I'm going to do it in my backyard, but it's going to happen. And I was so blown away by this young woman who was like putting her heart on her sleeve for, a pretty important organization in her community. And she kind of came out, I was impressed with her courage. And we ended up housing and hosting this exhibition at SelfHelp. In that first year that I was there at the organization, it was the largest opening that we had. We had over 500 people. Everyone in the show was under 25 years of age. Everyone at the opening was young. And it was such a reminder to me about the need for spaces like this for young people in our community. That accessibility piece is so very important. I can't stress that enough. And I also want to show that she is undocumented. Our building provides creative space to artists who don't have the ability to pay for a studio, artists who are undocumented, artists who are underemployed, artists who vend at each and every one of our marketplaces to have some sort of income around their work. In addition to that community, SelfHelp is a resource to youth to have used our building to host events, advocacy campaigns. We recently hosted a campaign for a teenage candidate for the mayor's office. It's a resource to our partner organizations who just need conference space sometimes, workshop space, or exhibition space, to the schools and colleges that visit to learn about the history of self-help and actually make artwork with us, and to the wider community that gathers annually for our Day of the Dead celebration. We have the longest running Day of the Dead celebration in the country. We gather folks in the thousands, and it remains a free and community artist-led event. Self-help is so much more than a building, but the building itself is a key tool in how we support and uplift our constituents. So the challenge. I don't have to remind you that the real estate market in LA is outrageous. And as you mentioned, Boyle Heights it's a very hot neighborhood right now. And the community is feeling it. It's a very public conversation. And it's a challenge for organizations like SelfHelp Graphics, who are undercapitalized and have historically been undercapitalized, to continue to support the community in a way, in a moment where they're under so much pressure. And it feels like a very personal attack on the community, this idea of displacement and being pushed out due to high rents. So the challenge for us in places like us is, how do we maintain our own stability in order to focus on our mission of supporting the creative economy that propels our artists? Self-help has already been displaced once in its history, and we are at risk again. And this situation is not unique to us. Places like Self-Help are positioned to continue to be economic anchors in our community, but we need the support of your offices. We need increased funding opportunities and policies that reward and subsidize the stimulation of the creative economy at hyper-local levels, and not just for developers. Thank you.